Hey guys, so in this video we're going to take a look at the unloader valve. I'm going to show you how to diagnose a faulty unloader valve, and then I'm going to replace the one that's in this van. So with this particular vehicle, the technician complained about the water pressure being really low. So I'm going to start it up in a minute. You're going to be able to see what the water pressure is, and then we're just going to quickly run through how to diagnose a faulty unloader valve. Now I already know the unloader valve is faulty on this. There's a couple of different ways that you can tell. First of all, we've got a vibration in the hose. Now that can be down to a number of things. That can be down to bad seals, bad valves in the pump. But I always start with the unloader valve. An unloader valve is a wearable item. We definitely replace ours at least once a year, if not more frequently. These ones here with the red caps, they're commonly in a lot of the vans. They are brass, and what we're finding recently is that a lot of the brass stuff wears out very, very quickly. So we're moving to these newer types. They've got a ceramic ball in them, and they do seem to last a lot longer and seem to be a bit more durable. So when it comes to the unloader valve, there's two ways that you can diagnose it. The first one, which is the simplest way, is you connect up a gun to the line, you start it up, and you check and make sure that as you pull and release the trigger, the unloader valve is clearly going up and down. Now, with this particular one, it is going up and down, but just barely. So just barely going up and down. So straight away, I look at that and I go, there's something not right there. But the easiest way to do it is if we take out the return line, and we can see how much water is coming out of the return line. So when we pull the trigger, you should get a little bit of water out of the return line, but not a whole lot. And then when you let go of the trigger, then you should get a lot of water coming out of the return line as the pump circulates the water back into the tank again. And then so you pull the trigger again, and that should stop or drop down to a very little bit of water. And then as you let go of the trigger, it should increase again. And so if it's not doing that, then you know that the unloader valve is not working, and that's what's causing the pressure. It's actually letting all of the water back into the tank rather than putting it down the line. Okay, so first things first, let's pull out the return hose. I've just got this set up now so it's nice and easy to tell. So we'll just throw that on the ground there. Now you won't be able to hear me talk when I switch on the machine, so I'm just going to switch it on and I'm going to demonstrate the water coming in and out. You'll be able to see what the pressure is at first of all, and then we'll just demonstrate me pulling the trigger, and you'll be able to see how much water is coming out of the return line. So remember, when I pull the trigger, the water should be going to the line and going to the gun, so you should have very little water coming out of the return line. And then when I let go of the trigger, the unloader valve should engage, and we should get a lot of water coming out of the return line. Okay, so let's start the machine and give it a go, and then you'll be able to see the pressure. Okay, so as you can see from that, there was still quite a lot of water coming out of the return line when we pulled the trigger on the gun. The unloader valve wasn't feeding a lot of water to the line, and I could also feel on the hose the unloader valve wasn't engaging properly. So you can really feel it when the unloader valve engages and disengages. It should have a little bit of a kick in the gun as the pressure comes on the hose, and that just wasn't happening. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly swap out the unloader valve, and then we're going to try it again. Just want to be careful of the exhaust, it's hot now. Okay, so that's our return line off, that's our line off, and then we'll just get a, I think this is a 19. Now, so I have already set up this unloader valve with all the connections on it, but what you do is you just quickly change all the connections from this unloader valve onto your new unloader valve. And it's really simple. There's an inlet, an outlet, and a return. Sometimes you might have a pressure gauge on here. On this particular pump, it's on the pump, but sometimes it'll be on this one up here. And then so you've got two outlets for the return. You've got one inlet and one outlet for the water going to the hose. So really set up 3 lines. You've got your inlet, your outlet, and your return. Okay, and so if you take a look at this one here, you can see I've got it set up. We've got our inlet here, we've got our outlet here, and then we've got our return line here. So really straightforward. I hope that's the right size. So we're just going to pop that back on here. So again, 19 spanner on that. A lot of these connections are 22 mil, so it should be nice and easy. Just tighten it up. There we go. We plug our Venturi back in again. No, we don't really need the Venturi for this testing process, but we'll plug it in anyway. Okay, our return line. Let's hope this goes on now. That's our return line on. Okay, so that's our unloader valve swapped out, so that's nice and quick. That's our old one there. And so, just want to make sure that this is wound down. Okay, and now we'll start it up again. So we'll just start it up again and then we'll see how much water is coming out now. Okay, so you can see that that's fixed our problem. When we pulled the trigger on the unloader valve, there was no water coming out of the return pipe versus before where there was a lot. So that's where all our pressure was going. It was going back into the tank, and the new unloader valve has fixed that. So, 2 things to remember. Always check that the unloader valve is going up and down very clearly, and just pull out your return line to see how much water is coming back out. Okay?